to get your PowerPoint all nice and ready for a presentation today to show the class? Did you unclog the printer as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. There's somebody just left when we mentioned PowerPoint, but that was kind of the idea there. No, yeah, it's a bit of being prepared, and it's also sort of a back pocket. It's always there and in motion, kind of thing for me. So yeah, I mean, I'm always here. I'm always doing things. I realize I've done music for so long that when I get into these conversations, um, it's interesting to try to choose a point to start or um, talk about anything. So, um, yeah, I mean that this is it's just great for me, to kind of figure out where people's interests are and how they know me, and then sort of go from there. And um, that's my PowerPoint style. It's all from the heart.
I love it. I love it. It relates a lot to my PowerPoint style. Really appreciate you being here. And hello everyone. Welcome to episode 41 of Music Matrix. We have my lovely co-host Shelly Van here. You sounding good today, Shelly. I'm really happy. Are you starting to feel better?
Yes, thank you. And without sharing TMI, it wasn't a head thing, it was a belly thing. So I'm just enjoying the weight loss, if you will.
Hey, it's still painful. It's still painful. I'm happy you're feeling better. And of course, my name is Sinful. We're both your hosts for today's show. Really happy to see you all. See the band room is starting to fill up a little bit. Probably people going in and out of consciousness, but I do believe we have like four individuals in the band room, and then we have Goldilocks, we have Fred, we have Nate. Welcome, Kanessa. Thank you for being here. If anyone can't make it to the band room on Decentraland, I am streaming on X. I did pin the tweet up at the top if you would like to get like a visual reference, as well as I am streaming on YouTube, Kick, Twitch, and yeah, I believe those are all platforms. I am Sinful Meat Stick on all platforms. And yeah, without further delay, our special guest today is a digital artist, music producer, and a sound wizard. You can find his work on SoundCloud and Spotify under the name Red Flower Lake. It is a pleasure to introduce Abel Okugawa. Thank you. How are you today?
Oh, good. Yeah, my name is Abel Okugawa, and I'm doing great. Red Flower Lake is the group with my wife. It's an electro pop duo that we have together. So yeah, you can definitely look that up if you want to, check out my music. You can also just type my name into your internet and see what happens. I've been around for a long time, so there's always fun stuff that pops up. But yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere. I was gonna say hey to Nate Guppy, my buddy, who popped in there for a second. Shout out. I hope he comes back. But yeah, those are my main two, names and artist monikers that most of my work is under. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Like it's all over the place. And you know, I just do so much. So, yep, that's correct.
Yep. No, I mean nothing with being all over the place. It just means there's a lot to your work. So I mean, I guess we could always start with I guess like the beginning. What came first? Did art or music come first for you? And how long has it been?
Um, yeah, that's a great question. It's almost maybe I don't know if I can really truthfully answer that because I've been making music and art and just been into creative stuff since I was a tiny kid. I grew up, in a creative family, so I've always been around creative stuff. Oh, nice. Nate's back. Shout out, Nate. Shout out, Slick. Thanks, guys, for coming by. But, I think that music is what really, kind of hit me at the youngest age that I was really interested in and thought that that was something that I would like to figure out. And, that was, I think I grew up, I played some instruments and, had lessons and was around music, but it was right around like 12 or 13, kind of that age, when I wanted to, just go into so my dad had a small studio under the house, and so I would say, let me just go in there by myself and mess around and like stay up all night and see what I could do with the 16-track tape recorder or the 4-track or whatever was there, and just experiment and then try to figure it out. So um, yeah, I just got really fascinated with it, and that is what kind of sparked my whole career of where I'm at today and things like that. So um, yeah, it came out of curiosity for sure, and then it sort of developed into making a living and figuring out how to make my life centered around music in as many ways as possible. Mhm.
That is awesome. And so, you had mentioned that you came from a creative background. Your parents were creatives. Your dad had a small studio in the basement. Um, by any chance, are your parents like creatives, or do they have work out there for the world to enjoy?
Yeah, absolutely. Both my parents are actors, so if anybody's interested in that, like, um, they could, you know, ask me about it. I think the most famous, thing people would know maybe is like my mom was in an Oliver Stone film called Salvador, and my dad has been in a ton of stuff. I was born out in Los Angeles, and it's just that was their scene, and yeah, a lot of our friends are actors and stuff like that. I see a lot of people I grew up with as a kid, like on TV and series and things like that. So it's that's a pretty close world to me. I definitely saw people who were um, having a creative career, struggling, right? Like it's not easy. But like everybody was really happy when somebody would land a good role or, things like that. And it's really to this day that's, their kind of community. And some people have gone on and are continuing to act, and others are, doing different things. But um, yeah, I just, you know, that's where I came from.
That's awesome. I mean, and then kind of like you mentioned, having a small studio, kind of getting that initial inspiration from just you playing with music, basically just putting music together, um, kind of sparked up a whole career for you in the future. At what moment did you decide you wanted to be a music producer and a digital artist? Was there a moment that kind of like you got, you're like, I'm going for it, or something else?
Oh, Sin, you're rugging, or is that just me?
Oh, did I rug?
Oh, you're better. You're
Oh,
back.
sounds better.
Mm,
Okay. You were underwater robot for a second.
did you manage to
Um,
catch the question, Abel?
yeah, like basically, when did I decide that? I think that question is an interesting one for me because I've been sort of looking back and going, oh, like this is what it is, and discovering through hindsight, and less of like, I want to be this, I'm going to do this to do that. Um, and I mean, it was in high school. I quit high school because I was already, you know, really interacting in the world, and sort of saw, my, I could make my own way, there in some sense. And I was already connected with a lot of music, and doing, I was in a band, and we were playing music and doing all these things. So I was, making a living. I decided to, that I was done with school, and I was going to pursue music, and just, be available for that. At that time, I also had a job working at a restaurant, as a dishwasher, and then like a prep cook, and then just working in the kitchen. And in the kitchen, there was a whole crew of us, and we were all music people, and in bands together. And so it was basically, when we were in at work, prepping vegetables and stuff, we were talking about all the music that we were gonna do. And we all, we lived in a house and had that house set up as a studio, and we made an album over the course of a year. And one of my, great friends is actually, here still with me in Web3. We kind of came back together, World Peace, Raphael Wintersberger. So, it's that's what, what I was doing. And that moment lived for a while, and we had a great time. And it was, um, right in the beginning of the 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 sort of era of electronic music recording. It was the time when I first, started experimenting with recording and editing on a computer. At that time, we pretty much were using ADAT tapes, which are VHS tapes, like an 8-track digital VHS tape recorder. That was really, kind of fancy. And we had gotten a hand-me-down from another pro studio and stuff. And that's kind of the world that I lived in. It was a sort of a hand-me-down world. And, oh, they're not using this anymore. Let's go, see how we can put that in our studio, and make that work for us. And so we pretty much amassed this crazy amount of gear, and had all these things going. But we were young, and our, lives and egos and just distractions led us away from, continuing in that band. And um, but I still continued in music, and I went into basically recording in studios, and looking for internships and stuff like that, because at that point I was really interested in the recording aspect of it. And people were starting to ask me to help them do things. And so I think that was really the start of what I would say is a career of like deciding what I was going to do. Was really when when I was actually doing things, and then opportunities started to come out of that. And enough was happening. But I had a job, and I was doing music. um, my whole theory was, if I can work 3 days a week and do music 4 days a week, then this is great. And so that's how I lived for a long time, and worked in restaurants, which was awesome because there's tons of food. And we're you know uh, theoretically starving artists, but if you work in a restaurant, you've got a lot of food, so you can just shut up about starving. um, and just eat and go home and make music. I mean, it was pretty simple to me. Life has gotten more complicated. I've got a family and all of that stuff, so it's not just me thinking about my sandwich and making a beat every day. But it's still definitely comes out of that. And whatever it is I've created here is sort of an evolution of that as well. It's it's always been there, just sort of layering on top of it itself. So, um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in between there and now, but that's kind of the bit of the beginning.
Yep, yep. I mean, the restaurant industry is not an easy one, and I mean, I've worked in it, and I've known individuals that have, that are music artists that started off like, just working at a restaurant, same, probably not the same exact position as you were, but like somewhat similar position, where like, it's like if they could make the music while, keeping the lights on just slightly and getting that sandwich, like they're gonna be all right. Um, and to tell you the truth, I've also kind of been thinking about reconnecting with some of those individuals. I see that they have gone on to like kind of meet a group of friends, start a band, and kind of like continue their music journey. So, yeah, listening to your story reminded me a lot of like, the even the individuals that were around me years ago. Um, By any chance, is there any work out there in the internet like from that was made by the band early on? I'm sorry, I don't think I caught the name of
Yeah,
the
no.
group.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there probably is. I I don't think our album is on major streaming anymore right now. I'm pretty sure, but the band was called the Avon Force, um, and so I think if you do some googling, there's probably some stuff that is available there. But um, I might even have some on my website, some stuff from there. If you go on my website, you can, create an account and access my music catalog. It's got like 500 pieces of music in there. And people can, go dig around and listen to stuff and search and do all of that cool stuff. But yeah, I mean, that was so long ago. Let's see, I could send you some links and stuff. I've played some stuff on our show, the Pop Up Record Shop that I host with Nate. Just pulled some stuff out like of the archives, but that all of that happened before digital distribution. Um, so we were making our own CDs and selling them, and that's kind of the format of how we were getting along as a band, right? We would play live shows and different parties, and we would make, maybe 50 CDs or something like that at a time. And what I mean by make them, I mean literally, um, cut the paper out, make the, jackets, spray paint and stamp and go to Kinko's and copy and paste all of that together and create like the sleeves. And then we would take the discs and we would spray paint them and stencil them and create art on them at, CDRs. So we were able to burn our own albums, which was huge technology back then. Like, I think we saved up, what was like $1,500, which was like a freaking, 3 months of rent back then, to get a CD burner. so that we had like our own, you know, distribution in house. So we would make those, sell them for $10, um, sometimes $5, depending on the album or whatever. And I mean, it was really interesting because we were literally, kind of creating these limited editions, and people liked that. We would come into to the bar where we all hung out, and like there would be the people would be asking, oh, this and that, and like some of the bartenders would be playing the music there, and like people were like, what the hell is this cool ass music? Like, oh yeah, this is the Avon Force, and it's just like something really fun to be a part of, and is you had to kind of be there at that moment to get that CD. That being said, like people were, it kind of moved quickly to like you were able to put the CD in your computer and burn one for your friend, which was fine. Like we were like, yeah, like why not have other people be our, hub for distribution? If you want one of our albums that we make, which is a beautiful piece of art, like it just makes sense. You just come to us, like, or you can just burn your own CDR that says, Staples Center or whatever on it, and you've got your. I don't know. I mean, this was a really cool time in music, and it was pre-digital distribution. Then, as the computer and the internet became more stable and like I mean beyond dial-up, and we were able to figure out how to get MP3s online and then figure out how to play them back. Our ideas of distribution moved into using the internet and the computer, and how we can do MP3s as a way to distribute music. And we also, I worked on that and was part of a studio collective that created an embeddable flash download store, where we could distribute right from the artist to the music fan, our own MP3s, FLAC, and WAV files. And so this was pre Bandcamp and all of that stuff, and it was really a very fun time. And it didn't last. It was a business, and there were some things that didn't work out there. But I learned a ton, and it was super fun. But I think the point is that I really do see a connection with what we're doing now. This is why I'm so excited about what we're doing now. It's kind of like feels though I've come to not full circle, but to the other side of the circle where I can look across and be like, oh, that was over there. Okay, like now oh, all right, well, let's go around the other side. And, so yeah, and I'm really excited for artists that are starting now, and have these tools and tech and can apply these ideas, in a way that, I think I was moving towards, but there hasn't been anything like what we have now. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of there was that era pre-digital distribution, and CDs, and it was digital music. We had moved out of tapes and things like that, but still, we hadn't hit the computer era, and then we went through that, and yeah, and then I can go on from there. But
I love the listening to artists that have been doing it for a long time. Just listening to like the whole process before the digital era, the burning of the CDs, and the you yourself going out there and distributing the CDs, like yourself meeting the people, making the network, like directly. um I always love listening to these stories because it tells you a lot of like about the creator and their drive to like for them to do what they're doing, because entering a creative space is never easy. Usually the 9 to 5 job is the easy route, and and then like kind of being a creative like adds a whole nother load to it, or even just going like full out like as a creator can really be like a journey in itself. Earlier you had mentioned that on your website, if you were to sign up, you would get access to the music catalog that you have available on your website. What can you tell us about the music catalog? And my personal question as a creator is, do you kind of work with, do you allow creators to use your music on their content?
Yeah, absolutely. In different ways, that makes sense. There's a lot of opportunities there. I've done a lot of music licensing, and that's, I think, what the inspiration for having a music catalog and having a place to have all of my music or a lot of it. Um, I guess I need to add some more stuff in there probably. Make like an archive. But it starts at a certain point. But I got into music licensing and doing music for film, so I've learned a lot about managing catalogs and um, you know using content and how to operate in that world. And that's something I definitely do. I do a lot of licensing. I've done music licensing for big brands like the North Face and Red Bull, and I've got my music and films that are on Netflix, and a lot of official things like this. So everything from that to like somebody, a lot of people who are making videos of their own content. Maybe it's a video game scene that they want to put up on YouTube and have some music for their background, um, or like a commercial for their product that they're making. That it's huge. And yeah, I definitely have a system for licensing and working with people who want to use my music for their own content. Um, I've even had uh, rappers license my beats to write rhymes and stuff like that. I've done a lot of stuff. I mean, I've got my music and things that I don't even know where it came from or who it was. Like, I've been doing this for a long time. When YouTube opened up, I was part of their music catalog, their internal music catalog. So creators on YouTube were grabbing my music out of the catalogs because that was an easy way for them to get music that they could use. And the artist, like myself, would be paid through advertising. So that was a big system that I was part of, and my music, got into a lot of accounts that way. And you know, it's a really interesting aspect of I think music, because it's like people want to listen to music, but there's also a lot of people that want music to use for whatever they're doing and be a part of it. So I really like that. I'm into people who want to be a part of the music, like DJs, for instance. I love the relationship with DJs, or a film director. If finding somebody who appreciates your music and wants to like incorporate it in something that they're making in their life is a wonderful experience, if you navigate it correctly. um, so yeah, my music catalog provides that access to my music. So you can go there, you can create an account, you can download things if you need to. I even have an app uh, that if you use Adobe or their editing suite, I can give you this app code. You download it from the Apple, code script official place. It's all legit, and you pop that in, and what it does is it gives you a window to my music catalog right there in your video editor. So you can just drag and drop and try different tracks and search my catalog without going ever to my website. Um, so there's kind of a lot of cool tools and ways I've figured out to interface with creatives and things like that. So yeah, that's open to that. It's also, people are part of my music website just because they love my music, and it's like the best place to go listen to it. You can make playlists and, kind of, interact with the music in that way. And, um, it's, yeah, it's just, that's one of the things that I wanted to do. I'm really into, having the keys and like, I'd rather know who is streaming what and how much of my music is streaming and who these people are than get paid a small amount of money from those people, right? Um, Music streaming is great and it's a good way for everybody to listen and access to my music. But my music catalog is for people that want to get a little bit deeper, um, into my music and that. So I found that there's an interest for it. So that's it's all kind of come out of that. And um, yeah.
Ju- Just now, when as you were speaking, I was signing up for your website, so you'll see my request here soon, and that's awesome. Okay, so you just mentioned that, um, kind of like the music catalog that you have on your website is a good way to like access your music, the best way to access your music. I was gonna throw the question out there for you personally, because you have content on Apple Music and Spotify as well as your website. Which place would be the most beneficial for, I guess, for yourself, like for listeners to listen to your music from? Or what medium would be the
Like
best?
support, you mean? Like which media supports me the best?
Yeah.
I mean, well, Spotify, Apple Music, and Tidal are all monetized. So Tidal pays the most, per stream. So if you're looking to have a music streaming service that actually is on the top end of paying artists, Tidal would be the one. Apple also pays a bit more than Spotify. I think Spotify is on the bottom of that. Um, that doesn't really do much. I think if you're going to go there and want to, it the best thing you can do is actually hit the follow or the subscribe button and maybe add a track to a playlist and just sort of interact as much as possible with the music there. That's a bigger boost than what you can do as a listener to affect my like you know you can't really this is the thing, like, no, we cannot listen to our music or our friends music enough to afford even to pay them the amount that we pay for the subscription. It's a business model and they're making the money, they're the business. And we're in that. So I think it's cool that you know I can reach people around the world and I'm able to get to you through something that you're already paying for and add value to that. Um, but honestly, what you just did with my website is the best way to support me. You're giving me you have to have an email to get in there. Um, and so that's huge. We're trading information. I'm like, hey, look, you want to tell me who you are and or whatever your email is, or um, I'll let you in and you can come and check this out. Now, if you want to download something, I'm going to give you that permission, separately. So you have to kind of ask for everything, and that creates a relationship um, between you and I, so that I get to know what you're doing. If I want to ask you, why the hell do you want to download my whole fucking catalog? What's wrong with you? I can do that because I see you're requesting my whole catalog, or I get a sense of who people are, and what I can do on the back end is write some notes there. So like I might, I have a couple categories of, if you're a producer, if you're supervisor, if you're a music listener, that kind of thing. So I can give you different amounts of access based on that. And I can also learn like, what it's just a really great relationship. So I think it's bigger than money to me there. And it also, for me, if I want to, uh, let's see, leverage, let's see, that's a good word, leverage my music catalog. Having a large amount of subscribers is a good um, thing there. So everybody's support is going into um, giving me some some sort of mathematical clout that I can use to leverage and go forward, and that see that value is something I can return back. But what do I mean by that? I mean make more music and update my catalog. That's the biggest request that I get is, hey, you have anything? Is this new thing on your catalog? Is this it's like sometimes not yet, especially in Web3. It's sometimes I'll I've been issuing an NFT before I update on that on my catalog sometimes. Um, so it's just a system, and sometimes I'll do the opposite as well. I'll let people listen to something before I publish it somewhere. Um, but yeah, I mean that's the best way there. I mean, direct support is all NFTs supply the best direct support. I use Manifold, and they don't take any percentage. So when you collect an NFT from me or any artist that uses Manifold, that transaction amount goes right into their wallet. And that's huge in this world. So, um, I think monetarily, Web3 is the most direct support um, as far as like listening and supporting and creating a culture and around music. Then it would be, um, you know, the connection is through the subscription of my website, and at the bottom of the totem is streaming. And again, like if you're streaming, make sure that you follow and interact with those artists as well, because that goes really far. I think if you do that, you're potentially giving that artist three more listeners. The more you interact with that, the more that's going to go out, right? Like, so, the best thing you can do with streaming music is share it more, um, and get other people to listen to it as well. So if, let's say that would be the most powerful action at the lowest, bottom of the totem there. Um, yeah.
Abel, thank you for kind of even breaking it down like very well on like the ways and like the degrees of how to support you and even like this transcends just to like artists in general like in for sure like NFTs have been a godsend for creators. Sometimes I wonder why the PFP projects are more popular than the music NFT when like the music NFT is actually value and the PFP project is a picture or a JPEG, I'll pass it over to my co-host Shelly, just in case I've been hogging the mic and she's been like anxious to ask anything. I'll pass it over real quick. If not, I can continue, Shelly.
Yeah, this whole time I've just been thinking, like, as someone who, grassroots was handing out CDs, making them, minting real IRL NFTs at the beginning. How I, I would love to know what you would say to a record label now, like from an artist perspective, having been at the grassroots of it all and now seeing how Web3 is evolving. Like, is there a place for record labels moving forward, in your opinion?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a great question, because I think it's kind of maybe tapping into the sort of um, uh, rumor, or consciousness that we all have that record labels are bad and they're going to take advantage of you. I've come from a world of like, I mean, I think independent record labels come from a different side of things where they're more looking to curate and create music that's in a certain style and be a hub for that. And I think that that's always going to have a place in music. And I think that you know it's really good. The thing that you know record labels, I think traditionally, um, maybe it's like just needs to be renegotiated in this sense because there's just different tools and different ways to do things. So I think that like a traditional deal might, be kind of difficult to operate in Web3. I think I've seen that happen, and it's probably a good reason for a lot of people that they just can't get into this. It's just too complicated with all of the agreements and different things going on that record labels tend to get into. But I do think that um, I love record labels because when I was discovering music, when I found a label like let's just say Ninja Tune, for instance. Ninja Tune is a great electronic music label, and as soon as I realized that I liked three of the artists' albums that were coming out in Ninja Tune, I was like, what is Ninja Tune? And that was a whole door into a world of music that I could discover, and it was really inspiring for me back then when I was young. And it actually led me, on my path because it was like a torch, a light in this dark world of like, where's all the good music and the things that I really relate to, and yeah, that was all based around record labels and record stores and the hub and the cultural centers of music. Um, so I think that in that sense, I'd love to see more of that evolution come into Web3, and less of the idea that like I just need a record deal and I'm looking to get signed. That's to me, when I hear that, it's so arbitrary and like it has no substance to it. Um, I've personally, I was really headstrong and strayed away from record deals. I've had record deals in the past. I put out a vinyl in 2001, and that was a record deal. Um, but I negotiated it in specific and retained the rights of my music, and it was a publishing deal, and that's kind of the world that I've stuck with is you know partnering with different record labels when it makes sense to publish things um, through their outlet. You know, and I've turned down record deals as well because it just doesn't seem like the right kind of thing for the music. And some of those I look back and I go, oh, that would have been more successful. Um, and maybe next time I'll think about that differently. Um, but I think that ultimately where I am, and I can say, okay, like what have I done that's helped me is really that retaining the rights and learning about publishing and how that all works, so that when deals or paperwork comes across my my desk, I can decipher it and make some good decisions. And if it's above my pay grade, I have some connections that I can vet that. And um, yeah, so that's been a you know a big one for me. I'm not against it, and but I think it's just really important how it's approached.
That's awesome. And as far as like distribution methods, do you see Web3, like how do you see Web3 disrupting that?
I mean, it's challenging because it challenges um, the the systems that are in place that are between you and your fan base. So if a record label is trying to hold that relationship, um, to themselves and manage that and curate that, that could be a challenge for Web3 because um, you know it's it's easier to be more connected directly here. So if you have a fan base that is already into your music, it's you know this is somewhere where they can get closer, and you may not need the record label at that point for that. Um, you know, I think that a record label doing advertisement and a lot of the dirty work and promotion and speaking about your music and looking for all the heavy lifting, um, that's something that I think artists that are not interested in being a part of that, that's a benefit for them. But a lot of artists right now, like especially with social media, are pretty close to their fans and interacting with them. It's not possible for every artist at every level. I've worked in the music industry for years and done things with the top 100 this and artists and all this, and it's not that they don't want to, it's just it's not really possible to be that available when you're touring and you've got all these things going on. So I think we're seeing there's like an area of the creative scene and music that is kind of in the middle ground. There's enough people um, for me, that's not how I make a living. So it's not a focus for me. It just doesn't have to be, and it would actually be a distraction. So, um, I'm kind of here to show people that there's all sorts of different ways that you can have a living and, be a full-time music producer or somebody who's involved in music at different stages. So, um, yeah.
You're definitely, a leader in the space, in this aspect, coming in with so many years of experience, so much work done in the past, so many features, like you mentioned earlier, your not your but the documentaries on Netflix that you have provided sound for, and even other collaborations. um I guess this is kind of like a good time to even, well, I think Shelley took the shift. um like, having these accomplishments under your belt, what was the inspiration of getting into Web3? Is it like what you just kind of mentioned, or is there kind of like even another reason to this?
Um, yeah, that's a great question. You know, um, Web3 and NFTs came to me through my connections to the visual artists and 3D artists, and um, my good friends that I knew from working at a production studio where we made music videos and touring visuals for big tours and acts, and we all worked together on that kind of thing, and we also worked on films, and so um, you know that was a whole era, and I got to know a lot of really talented 3D artists. One of my great friends is named David Ariev. He's known as Octane Jesus, and Octane is a render engine, and we do a lot of collaboration together. And he also does tutorials. He has a big, you know, following in the world of tutorials, and I think it was like right before the pandemic. He was putting together this great course called Lights Camera Render. Yeah, Lights Camera Render. Um, and it's a tutorial on in a school. It's called the company is called School of Motion, and they're a big school for motion designers and graphic designers. And inside the tutorial, there's tons of assets, classes, everything that you need to create, fully fledged scenes. But they didn't have any music, so I was like, "Hey, my dude, how about as a friend, I just throw in some of my music to your class so that the people taking the class and they make these awesome scenes, they have some music that is pre-licensed and pre-cleared for them to use for that. And it was like, cool, that's great. We've done a lot of collabs, and that was just like something that we, are like, yeah, let's like, we're putting the best stuff in here, like there's stuff from Kit Bash and all these great, assets in there. And I just felt so great to just, contribute and like fill that out. That's something that it was, just did that out of the kindness of my heart. It wasn't like a big licensing deal. It wasn't anything. It was just like, your people who take your tutorials need good music to put on there. And, they need to learn that, this is something we can do. And, good ingredients make good, products. And out of that course, his master scenes that he made, he, ended up using my music for them. And in the footsteps of his mentor, minted them to the blockchain on Maker's Place. And so like I think it was like it was like late at night, and I got a text from, David, and he was like, hey, I was like, I minted the scene that we made, and somebody wants to buy it. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, sounds like somebody's looking to license this, something, probably they're a company and they want to, use it for a commercial or something, because that's the world that we're in. And so I was like, well, sounds good to me, man. Like, whatever, you think, I trust you, and these people. And then like, if it's Nike, charge them Nike prices. And if it's, Shelly V, charge her Shelly V prices or whatever. Like, you run with it. And he was like, no, it's not. This isn't a company. This is a collector, and these are NFTs, and they want to buy it on ETH. And I was like, all right, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. NFT, ETH. I was like, I couldn't figure this out. I was like, is NFT a company, or like, what is that? So he was like trying to explain it to me, and it was a one of those like classic Web3 moments where it's like, he's gonna bid, he doesn't know what to, he's asking me what I want to charge. Like, I was like, just fucking go for it, man. Like, I don't know, like, whatever. And these are great scenes. I mean, they're it's called one of them's called Love in the Time of Cyber, in the Time of War, Cyber War or something. It's a whole cyberspace scene, and there's one robot that's like in love with another one, and there's a war going on, and it's big, it's like a 3-minute little film. And there was a bunch of them, and the collector, I think it was like 75,000 or something is what, the ETH was, and that bid, and it all went through, and we were like, wow, this is insane. Like, this is a place where people really recognize like what we're doing and what we create, and have an interest to that. And like, it just clicked for me. I was like, this is the first time that digital artists can like sell their work. Like, we as musicians have had Spotify and Bandcamp and all this stuff. And I mean, this has been a conversation, like, because I'm in the music thing, and I'm in this production office with these guys that are doing visuals, and like, I do the music for a film, and they're like, yeah, well, you get like royalties and all your fucking ASCAP stuff, and what do we get? And I'm like, I don't know, guys. Like, like, what do you get? Like, we don't have a system for visual artists, and like their distribution of their work, and how to handle that. So I was like, wow, like, this is fucking amazing. Like, this is the first time that we can deliver audio visual work like MP4s in it, and actually have provenance. And like, it just really opened up my mind. And we were really excited because we've been collaborating on a lot of commercial works. And it was occasionally that where we would get something, time to do something that we really wanted to do, and use our skills in the way that we creatively, how we wanted them to. And this became a space where there's support for doing what you really love and what you're really good at doing. And that was an incredible time, and it opened up a lot of doors for a lot of artists. This is including people. People was tipped it, because that was like, okay, there's no denying this, but I mean, we were all friends and in the same kind of crew pre NFTs, and doing visuals for music groups and different, things like that, and talking about tools and sharing all these, resources, because it's how we, survived in the industry, and all made a living. And it was like one by one, every artist like, no, this NFT thing is for real. It actually works, and there's something going on here, right? So I started, really just loving to work with my friends and create this work. And we did a lot of audio visual work and created a ton of really amazing one of ones and different collections. And, it just sort of grew out of that. That realization in that moment, and it's evolved into what it is now. And this is, I started to think about music and what does this mean for music. And this was all pre, like, the terms music NFT being something that was, kind of words squished together. And so, for me, I do a lot of audio visual art, and so this was like the first time I could see, you know, selling a music video. Like, their music videos were pretty much promotion, and they became required. Like, you drop an album, you got to have a music video to promote that and for people to see it. Um, well, how do you monetize that type of thing? What is that? Some of my fans, like, in my world, they started, I started doing things where I would put my music videos in an exhibition, or, show it or premiere it, or try to work that into the world of film. And, but it was really like they're in this nebulous zone until Web3 and NFTs came along. And then it was like, this is what this is really good for. Now, as far as just music and things like that, I think that the tech is, I'm really interested in, and I'm learning a lot. But it's not like maybe the most efficient way for every idea that's around music. And music is just one of those things where, again, like, we've had a lot of time to mess with this, and we've screwed it up for a long time, and we've got problems or whatever that we're trying to solve. And I feel like this is a place where if we come in here fresh, maybe there's an opportunity for some of that stuff to get resolved. But yeah, we've got a long way to go with music. And I think that's, again, like, I think you're talking about, like, well, why is music less valuable than, visual art? And I think just the physics of music are so different. You can't look at music and see it and tell the difference of it out of, a collection of 10,000. You have to, like, sit down and absorb it and listen to it, or understand through some metadata how things are different. So for me, this is it's very connected to the visual world. I would say, like, I'm doing music distribution just as music. Like, I've got my website, I've got, streaming. There's lots of way to access music to listen to. But what I do with audio visual art, that's Web3 and that's NFTs, and that's really what this is good for me.
That is an awesome explanation, and even like thought process to have about the space. Just wanted to kind of ask you how you're doing on time, Abel. Don't want to like keep you here for too long. I do have a few more questions, so I thought I'd check on you.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been an hour. I feel like we've covered a lot. It's a lot to digest. I appreciate you recording this because it's good for me. I'll, save this as an archive. And um, but yeah, we don't need to keep going. I'm not trying to push you all, further. I don't know how long you normally go, but I could spend another 20, 30 minutes. We can get through the questions. I'll try to be concise.
Perfect. I mean, the reason why I ask is usually we host these for an hour, and so we're going over an hour. I still have questions. You're very knowledgeable. You do so much, so there's there's so much that we can cover, especially like important things like such as the NFT or what was it? Oh, the your NFT record shop and everything that you've been doing in the space as of more recently. Shelly, did you unmute your mic real quick before like I started talking by any chance?
Sorry, that was fat finger moment.
Oh, okay. um, so I guess the next question I kind of wanted to ask, like, being in the space this long, doing this, doing what you have done in the space so far, you've released a few music, audio, visual NFTs. Have you found your Web3 home yet?
And I don't know. I had never even considered that. Hmm. Probably, home is where the heart is. But yeah, I mean, I have I've released quite a few music NFTs. I've in my collection, I think there's 100 holders. So there's over 100 tokens that I've issued and have been collected, like in my music collection via Manifold, and on Foundation. But those are, it's, I've also been a part of some great collaborations, some that have sold on Sotheby's. My work has, been collected by Paris Hilton and some incredible collectors in this space like NorCal Guy and Patty Stash and Kryptonish and Nest Graphics. And, a lot of, I think, what, was chalked up as success. I'm still going for it though. It's I think that there's still, a lot of work for me in using this platform for my voice to share my experience and bring some light to what the value of music is. And I think it's I like the sort of what is it, the I don't want to use the word migratory nature, but the it's not vagabond. I'm looking for a word here. The transit, like the ability for
Gypsy?
us. What's that?
Gypsy?
Gypsies. Yeah, kind of like where when the word that I'm looking for now, this is where it gets to is we don't have to spend too much time searching for this word, but people who move around and don't live in one place. God, it's like I can't even think of it. But anyways, it'll come to me. So that transitory, that like we can pivot. This is a liquid form of operation, right? Like we have these spaces that we can just show up. Like I didn't have to do makeup and hair and figure out where to go this morning, and that that is so different than what we've been doing. That I don't, it's like I haven't really found a Web3 home and like, oh, this is where it is and this, but it has to do with my family and my friends and that network. And, I'm still here with people that I knew before Web3, and I've met a lot of people through Web3. So, for me, that's great. This is a place where I get to take, all of my relationships and things that I've done previously and bring them in and play around with it and just like have these fun moments and like, what can we do here? How's this work here? And then meet more people. I've never been I've never seen a field of work that has so many different people from so many different backgrounds and stuff and interested in this. This technology brings, I mean, I'm learning so much about how to, manage finances, for instance. That's a whole world that as a musician, like I didn't really have access to that. But now that, I'm interfacing with people through Web3 and the blockchain and I, those people are not, they're interested in collecting music, but it happens to be that they're also like professional traders or doing something else that I have no idea about. And I, guess I get to have conversations with them. And so, you know, the this new kind of networking is it's a powerful word, but it's almost a weak word in this sense, because it's like, yeah, it's not really a network. It's developing relationships, is something that I think is where I feel at home here. I've always liked that. I've always been a connector. I've always known, seen those connectability, like, hey, this person does this, you do this, you know. I'm also somebody who likes to test things and then bring them in and be like, check this out, it's plug and play. And so that this is really an exciting space in that sense for me. But yeah, I mean, I'm using like Manifold as my main minting tool. But I've done a lot of different experiments and different things for different reasons. All, matching the technology to the ideas. And I would say that, that whole ecosystem of all of that creates a camp, and I'm in the camp. And we're transients.
I love it. I love it. And yeah, by that question, I probably should have been more specific. Like it wasn't meant to be like a physical place, and you answered it just perfectly. Like through the network, through the people that are around you, that is the home you've created. And in reality, like even looking over to myself, like this Decentraland community is my home. So perfect answer. I love everything that you were saying. And it's a good segue into the NFT record shop, Twitter account and spaces that you have hosted. What can you tell us about it? When do they happen? How can our listeners and community connect with it?
Yeah, totally. I put a post up from one of our spaces on the thing, and then another piece on my music, and I'll put something else up there too for easy access. Yeah, the pop-up record shop we host every Tuesday and Friday at 2 p.m. EST. So you can tap in there. It was really born out of people requesting me to do more spaces, and me coming up with a solution to organize that in a way that for me to do it twice a week, it's a lot, but it's easier for me to do that than randomly throughout the week. So trying to be consistent and be there. The idea, the name, the pop-up record shop, the account, the NFT record shop, is bigger than me. It's Nate Guppy, it's Mr. Swee, it's my friend Sawchak. It's all of us, I think, that have an affinity and a sense of what it was like to grow up when music was really, the hub of that experience of finding new music was going to a record shop. And okay, well, what does that mean? It's there's different activities that happen there. For instance, um, you know, you would be able to, find out if there were different events by going, and looking for flyers on the counter. Or you could take a record out that you'd never seen or heard of before and take a listen to it. Or, you could talk to the guy who's working behind the counter and has talked to everybody else that day and probably knows something about something you're interested in. Or, you just, for me, like I would go there on the weekend and just basically hang out there until other people that I knew showed up, and then, we'd figure out something to do. And usually that was a rave or something, musical party or event, something going on. But if you didn't go to the record shop, like you just didn't have that access. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have these things. So, um, how do we bring that back into, this digital culture where we're all very kind of disconnected? Um, so conceptually, that's a third space. It's not me, it's not you, it's something else that is created when we're together. It's kind of similar to all, spaces in a sense. It's, I call it a phenomenon. And so I wanted to kind of capture that in a way of Web3 and bring that and create a space without a lot of overhead, not a physical space, not a metaverse space, not something that we have to rent or it becomes a business expense. This is, I think that one of the coolest parts of digital, this tech and being in a digital world is we can manifest ideas in new ways that were maybe too expensive or out of our reach physically. But they can represent that in other ways and be tangible here. And the record shop is one of those things. So, we create that space and host it every Tuesday and Friday. And, we try to do things like bring in guests, provide a space for people to play and share their music. We do deep dives, on into that music. Where we come to the space and to listening to the music from what I would say is a journalistic approach, where we're interested in the why, what, and how, and it's cool. It's been awesome. I've had some amazing moments personally there, like things coming full circle. For instance, one of the records that inspired me to make music is "Dummy" by Portishead, and the that kind of came out of um, the group of Mo Wax and Bristol and Massive Attack. Just this whole world that I'm in the United States and it's not connected to me, but I'm really interested in it and absorbing it. And the founder of Mo Wax, showed up in our record shop. Of course, they're very familiar with records and record shops and stuff, and we had an amazing conversation. And I found out that that record was recorded in their living room, and to hear that story and be there live in that moment was incredible. I mean, it was the type of thing that has happened to me in some ways, but I'd have to be in a studio or somewhere like that, where somebody walks in and you're like, oh shit, that's the guy that played the congos on that record. Like, damn, this is where we can kind of have that. It's not just like about promotion, but it's about learning and kind of getting under the hood of what music is. Yeah, so that was there's a desire for that. We've got, like, I think it's over 150 people that are seeming to consistently show up, and that's something that we respect and we listen to, and it's we're making we keep that going based off of the messages of success that we get. So it's still under development, and we've got over 100 episodes, and we're looking for new ways to collaborate as well. Like, I see opportunities for these entities like where, you know, we could come in to Decentraland or something and be a part of a conversation, or, you know, bring our knowledge in there. That's kind of what, you know, we're establishing, so that as we all grow and move forward, there's you know, resources like that to call upon. You know, if somebody's got a drop and they want to have a place to feature it, you know, we can provide that. Um, you know, like a lot of people come in and they ask about, you know, playing in the metaverse. We're like, hey, have you heard of True Band? You know, like it's a place that we're project agnostic, like a record store. You know, you go in there, you're not just going to find records from this or that. Like we're just getting records, you know, we're just getting information, you know, and um, we try to do our best at vetting it, and you know, it's just making that a place to get that kind of info, and it seems to be something that's helpful for people, um, and yeah, so that's yeah, I'm involved in.
That is awesome. So kind of you know, highlighting others and bringing each other up in this space is something that's very near and dear to me. So my next question is, I know you mentioned one person, but also what who were some off the top of your head, who are some notable guests that you've had at the pop-up record shop in the past that you would like to shout out and you know, tell the world about?
Oh man, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think if you think about like Web3 and, you know, people that have had a lot of success, like Trevor Jones came through, and we had a really long and deep and great conversation with him. He's had lots of monetary success, um, you know, so that was really cool to be there and have that conversation with him and hear about, you know, what that's like to have that unexpected moment occur, and how that changes your mind. And like, you know, he spoke about how he had, you know, all of a sudden a lot of this like anxiety that came up of that it was going to affect his output and like his authenticity that he has towards his art and stuff like that. But I think he's over it. He throws these awesome parties in these castles, you know, and I made a piece with my buddy David Ariev that was in the castle party, and it was you know, donated and dedicated to this another artist who passed away, called A Lot of Money, um, and it was really fun to make this piece for him. And um, you know, we dove into A Lot of Money's art catalog, and David really put all the visual aspects in there, and we created this like piece that was like a mermaid, and I, you know, made this underwater soundtrack, and it's like all these things floating around that were part of A Lot of Money's life, and you know, that was presented there really really nicely in the castle, and you know, super fancy stuff. But you know, it's like I love to see people doing things with their money, you know. I mean, let's see who else is you know, I mean, it's really not about the most famous and the most successful. It's mostly about the people that show up and consistently have something, you know, just to share. Um, honestly, you know, and that's really like we say, you know, like our locals, you know, that's what makes the show, you know, because we don't pre-plan it. We don't do that much pre-planning. It's just too much work for us to put in, and it doesn't reap the results that everybody wants, I guess. But it so, you know, just everybody's contribution is incredible. Trying to think, like, you know, there's been a lot. I've been able to bring in some of my visual artist friends, and they've done, you know, great work, like working on Batman movies and all this crazy shit, you know, and been able to talk about that experience and the difference of that really to what we're doing here in Web3. I mean, it's kind of insane, you know, because one of the things that a lot of, you know, people that I find, like, you know, we look at and we might know through their success. And so we look at them as successful. Um, when you get to talking to them, you know, it's like Web3 and NFTs and this space is, it's like a respite for what we have to do in the commercial world and how we have to hold ourselves and interact and um, give our best, but also compensate as much as possible for, you know, the vanilla good of everybody. You know, I always used to say, like, you just like when something's produced in a corporate setting, um, you know, there might be a lot of money to it, but one of the detriments to the creative process is that it goes through, um, you know, a decision making order where it's like people are like, no, no, you know, this person won't like that, so we can't do that, and you know, it just continues to do that. So what the product in the end is like, it's the best of what we all just didn't want, you know. And it's like we've settled for this for years, you know, and so it's like over and over again, you know, the more successful people that, you know, come through and share and talk about what we're doing is more of like, hey, like if we could do more of what's really fun and actually produce things that, you know, to a extent that we love and care and are passionate about, whether or not it's an experiment or we know exactly what we want to do and we accomplish it, um, you know, that's worth fighting for, you know. And I admire the artists like Trevor Jones, like people who have had major success, you know, and have put major amounts of that back into the community. For instance, Beeple has an incredible um, studio, and it's called Beeple Studios in Charleston, South Carolina. It's like a studio and a museum gallery and a place for experiments, you know, and new technology and ideas to emerge, and events are happening there. And that's something that he was able to create in this huge warehouse um, off of the success of his art. And I think that we need more of that, you know, and I think that connecting those dots, you know, where finding people where they, you know, you want to support things like this, well, we got to build that trust, you know, and know that these things are they are accomplishable, you know. In the world of commercial work, we accomplish huge stuff. So, you know, this is a place where we can accomplish things like that as well. Um, and I really, really admire the way that the artists in this space that have found success and are bringing that back into the space. Um, there's a lot of them, and a lot of them I'm following, and I try to keep it real authentic in that way. So, yeah, as far as famous people and big success, you know, that's um, I think what, you know, I found in the shop, and I'd have to, you know, I mean, it's been over 100 episodes, and but those are some of the, you know, couple things that stick out to me. We've had other people that are famous in this space come through, and usually those spaces go for like 6 hours because we have a good time talking.
Most definitely. Yeah. Um, Probably another question that I need to go back to the drawing books and kind of readjust. Because like when I ask these questions, I'm like thinking of them as like what I would think is notable, which like for me would be kind of like the small time artist that is dope as fuck that no one knows about, but we have to like get them out there, you know, someone that has that story of like, you know, coming in from nothing but still coming in hot and being able to like make this piece of art that is like has been blowing people away, anyone that sees it. So, but I really enjoyed listening to kind of like some of the figures that you have had come through the pop-up record shop, and I am a fan of the pop-up record shop. I have been to the space a few times. I think like I think a few of the times I have also seen Mr. Swede there as well, hanging. Um, so I see that we're at time. Um, So I'll just pass it over to Shelly in case she has any questions or follow-up questions that she's dying to ask. If not, maybe we could start to wind down here.
Yeah, I wanted to talk just briefly about your PFP and how that was created, what went into it, because I think it's it's a moving, or it has been used in other moving pieces. Is that right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a thing. Thanks. Yeah. So just to kind of follow back on Sinful for a second there. Yeah, I totally agree. That was a interesting question, and I think that I have seen a lot of success, and what I see is like artists coming into the space, showing us something they're working on. They come in one more, again, and they show us like what they've done with it, and then like they come in and they've minted it and it's finished, and they've learned a lot about all this stuff, and they end up getting support, and that little cycle is yeah, I would say like is the overall major success of what we can do and stuff there with sharing at the shop. But yeah, I mean, that kind of plays into Shelly, like my PFP. I'll try to make this quick. It's part of the collection called the Oni Force. That's a big PFP collection that came out and was super duper popular. I love the art and the artist. I Am Complex and Cro Magnus and people behind the actual project. So when I saw the art, come out, I was like, this is really cool. I think it was minting for 0.07, which back then was like a ton for me, and I wasn't really sure I hadn't minted any PFPs, and I didn't really know what to do. So I was on the sidelines kind of watching this happen, and but I got to know a bunch of the community members, and one thing I saw was that the Oni Force had an IP, access rights, just like the Bored Apes. Like you can do derivatives, or you can, use it for your brand, or you can do whatever you kind of want with the IP. And that was something that really stuck out to me. I was thinking like if I was ever to be a part of a PFP project, I would want full IP for that. Since I make music, I might want to make a music video or something. I just see that being a really valuable aspect of being holding a piece of visual art. So I approached a collector that I got to know and had a nice collection of PFPs here, Onis, and asked if they wanted to collaborate together, and I would create a soundtrack and animate one of the Onis, in collaboration with them. And they were like, yeah, let's do it. So we created this animated version of this Oni that I have here. And we minted it. It's a collection of 77, since there's a lot of sevens in this collection. That's the number that they're kind of working with. There's like 7,777 PFPs and this and that. So, it was for the culture. It was like, hey, let's show people what is possible with this. And it was really fun. It's not, fully collected or anything like that. A lot of people did collect them. And I probably have it somewhere I can share the actual artwork. But, it's kind of went on to it, I guess it was a good adventure in just like experimenting with what's possible and figuring out how to interface with a PFP community at large, and like what that means and what are these opportunities and stuff. Because I think as musicians, we see a lot of, PFP collections. I mean, even like the true band and stuff, like you're using, PFPs and mixing that in with music, and like, how do we navigate that? What does that mean? And let's experiment here and see what is possible and how we can bring value through that relationship. Because I think that, music is huge, and finding those connections is one of those things that's really important for me. So, fast forward, I guess the collector at one point needed to liquidate some of their collection. And so they approached me and said, hey, like, would you be interested in owning this Oni, that you've worked on? Before I go ahead and sell it, let me, make sure that, if you wanted it, like, we could work out a deal. So we worked out a deal. I, became the owner of this Oni, and therefore, like, actually cemented my relationship there to the community. And, you know, uh, that's kind of this PFP. So I guess I rock this PFP in that it represents kind of my relationship and collaborative, you know, approach to Web3 and, crossing those boundaries and, explaining what people do. Now, if you check out, like, I've got that pink suit on, which was like a part of their lore where the Onis put on these like suits and, had to go into this other phase of the project and stuff. And then up above my cap, there's you can't really see it, but what that is a floppy disk with the same colors. And so I just thought it was super cool that there was a suit that matched the colors of my one of my largest music collections, which is called Runtime Comp, and it's a big, synthwave cyberpunk themed music collection with a set of 101s and also editions of singles and a lot of lore. There's backstories for each of those songs, and it's about a courier in a city called Neomet and their adventures, and each song is a theme, and that's chapter 1. We're working on chapter 2. So it's, this is a part where, I really see like the storytelling aspect of what, I like to do with music is, I'm able to expand on that and use this technology to, transfer some of that into the experience of the listeners and the collectors, that's not really possible through, digital distribution, traditional ways. So yeah, I'm just like blending it all together, it's all about that like IP and having access to that and making sure you're, in the know of what that means. And making sure your art is authentic. That's another, big aspect. Like, again, like, I am Complex, an incredible artist, also designs toys, has a career as a product designer and a visual graphic artist. I really admire their work. So, that's something that I like to support in collections as well. I own other ones as well now. But yeah, I think that sort of makes sense there.
Love it. Alrighty. Any more questions, Shelly, or would it be a good time to start winding down? Yep, looks like Shelly gave me the thumbs up. She's like, "Come on, Sinful." So, Abel, thank you so much for being here. Just gonna pass it back to you one final time for if there's any final words you would like to share with everyone. The floor is yours. Also, I mean, add on what is the best way to contact you if anyone ever wants to say hello. And yeah, where can they support you?
Awesome. Yeah, thanks. Shout out to everybody. Seed, thanks for popping in. Great to see you, and Slick for hanging out this whole time. It means a lot, and I just appreciate that. And it's great, Kenji and Fridarm, DCL. It's just awesome to see people and kind of meet people, and just it doesn't matter if there's 3 or 300. For me, it's I'm still 100% here, or whatever, 150%, honestly. So yeah, I mean, supporting for me, if you want to support me directly, the best way is to look into collecting some of my NFTs. If you're interested in that, you can, check my pinned tweet, go through my timeline, hit the link in my profile, or send me a message and ask me, what I've got available. happy to put that list together and let you know, all the different price points and stuff. I think right now, um, the lowest price point is my current mint, which is an open edition. It's going to be open for I think 40 more days to the be open through the month of February. The price will increase as it gets closer to the end of the mint window. Right now it's at 0.015 when it started at 0.01. So that's a place where you can, I think it's about $30 or probably $40 when you get in there with gas and stuff, depending. I don't know what's going on today, but that's the most connected, best direct support that you can give me is through my NFT and music collection. Um, After that, I have a film that I just finished, and it's also available for on demand. You can buy it or you can rent it. So that's another place that that support goes directly to me. Um, if you need a discount, let me know. I'm happy to generate you a code. I have a certain amount of codes I can do that with. I'm happy to accommodate people for their, situation, but like you can rent that movie for $3. Um, if you don't have any money to spend and you want to join my website, it's free. Just go there, join my website, subscribe, you can access my music. Thanks Sinful for hooking up today. I'll go, I'll probably see that in my email and say what's up. And if you already subscribe to music streaming services, look my name up there. I've got also my Red Flower Lake. So Abel, Okugawa, and Red Flower Lake. Those are my two main music projects that you can find on streaming. Make sure that you subscribe and interact there because that interaction goes further. Always looking for commissions and collaborations and things that move the space forward and I can contribute to, whether or not that's, some consulting work in that, I can lend my knowledge to your process, or maybe there's something that you want to do with your music and you're not sure how to do that, whether it's some mixing or mastering or figuring out where, these are all things that I'm happy to set up a time and figure out a way to trade and create some value there. Just keep sharing stuff and send me things and don't be shy, just reach out. Also, one thing that's interesting, some people might, feel it's a bit controversial. There's a platform called Friend Tech, and it's a lot to get involved in. It's a kind of a weird thing. You got to download, put it on your phone, and it's on base, and you've got a new wallet, and there's a bonding curve and stuff. But basically, what it is it's a token gated chat, and you buy your token key to get in, which gives you access to my chat. And then you can sell that key to leave whenever you want. The cool thing about that is I get a bit of the sale price on the in and on the out. And there's a liquidity pool that the person who's buying and selling will always hold a value. Now that value can go up depending on when you buy the key and other people buy other keys. But what I'm doing with that chat is I have like a rotating raffle for what's called a mystery box, which nobody really knows what that is, but I've sent out a few of them. Could be vinyl, could be, I don't know, could be anything really. It's going to be music related. But that's, I think right now that's a 0.01 price as well. So it's not, it's at that low level tier. It's not as direct. It's more of a way that if you're interested in what I'm doing, but you don't want to spend $30 or $40 to lock yourself into my Web3 music collection, but you want to kind of tap in and then maybe decide if you want to tap out. I think that's a cool option for people that's available, and some kind of stuff I'm experimenting with. So, you know, if this is all pretty complicated, again, it's like send me a message and we can just talk about stuff. Um, but yeah, those are most of the ways that you can support me. Anywhere that you see something that has a price tag on it, um, that you know is something from me, um, can pretty much rest assured that that's the best. You know, I'm behind that, and that money is going to me, because that's you know, again, it's something that I'm really focused on setting up, and also sharing that knowledge with other people, especially artists, you know, starting out here. Is how do you set that up? How do you keep the keys to your information? And you know, what's the value trade here for what you're putting in is what you're getting out. So um, I'd say, you know, my stuff on my timeline is pretty good there. You know, you can definitely rest assured that, you know, whatever I'm selling is going to support me. Um, and you know, some of the stuff I do that's cool, you know, that Web3 allows me to do is reward collectors. You know, so you know, I've got, like I said earlier, I think 100 holders, if not more now. But I can see who holds how many tokens and what they hold. So, um, you know, like at the end of a season or the end of something, I might um, reward people. Like I rewarded the 101 holders with some additions, um, and stuff like that. So, you know, if you're into that kind of being rewarded without having to do a lot of participation, I think that's one thing that Web3 and NFTs are actually really good with. Um, because you know, it's like once you collect that, it sort of puts that into my hands as to like how I'm going to, you know, bring that into the whole ecosystem of my collection. um, and you know, that's something that I can do really well with um, NFTs and Web3. And then also my website, I can see who's, you know, listening to a lot of my music and different things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Abel. And yeah, so definitely we're gonna be connecting in the future, that's for sure. I'm gonna pass the mic over to Shelly for any final thoughts that she might have.
Just a big thank you. This has been an amazing time to get to know you better and understand what you're working on. Shout out to everybody in Decentraland. Thank you for being here. Don't go too far. We've got Hootenanny today with Stony and Dino, and then followed by Mr. Sweet. It is Wednesday after all. So hope to see you back in DCL. I'm going to go get some breakfast. But Abel, it has been a pleasure. Thank you again so much. And thank you, Sin.
Shelly, the show before Mr. Sweets, what time does it start?
Of course, the one time I don't have it like right off the gate, right out of the gate, I think, let me double check. I think it's 9 p.m. UTC, which is 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern.
Alrighty, and then it would be 6 p.m. Eastern going into Mr. Sweet.
That's right.
Cool. Nice, nice. So yeah, it looks like the band room is busy today. Thank you, Shelly. And Shelly, by any chance, did you manage to link any of Abel's NFTs to the back wall of the band room?
Yes, his links are on the back wall. If you just click around.
Alrighty, so yeah, if anyone would like to check out Abel's NFTs, as well as even check out the website, make sure to sign up to have access to his music catalog. This has been an amazing interview. Abel, you are a real one. I definitely want to kind of continue our conversations here, and and kind of see how we can, how I can help you be seen by the world, or how we as the Decentraland community could help you. Um, and oh, I remember earlier you were when you were speaking about the pop-up shop, the pop-up record shop, how you wanted to make it a seamless experience for everyone to be able to log in without any overhead costs. I would like to kind of open up the conversation with you on possibly even bringing the content into Decentraland. Like, I mean, we have the resources. You have the talent. I would love to see how we could, like, make it happen on Decentraland, even if it's like one of the two weekly spaces that we would stream in. Definitely want to get you that presence in there.
Oh man, yeah, no, thank you both, really. I mean, and thank you for everything that you've been doing for the music scene here. Um, Shelly, I think I've been following you forever, and you know, really honestly, like it takes these kinds of conversations, like where I like, oh, like, I want more people to come in here and, share with you guys. But that idea there, of, where we can syndicate our show to your venue and make that easier for like a couple more people that would like to hang out in Decentraland, like that's exactly why we're, building it to this point. Um, and I think that's great. We should definitely continue this conversation and find some ways that we can link up that are easy. It's like, oh yeah, just strap that onto the backpack. There we go. I'll carry your water bottle. If you, and it's we can get there. And I was just thinking like, I'd love to bring movies in. I made this film. I've made other films. I feel like I'd love to experiment with showing films in a metaverse venue. So maybe there's something we could do there, and hold a screening because, you know, again, it's like, these kinds of experimental events are the ones that I would, love to say, hey, look, like if you want to go see the film, you haven't been able to get it on demand, or like it's going to be screening here, that would be really fun. And, maybe there's some stuff we can talk about doing that this year, and yeah, building up on what we've all built. So, yeah.
Abel, get out of my head. I have this already on my list from back when you were speaking about the film you have, and the ways to support you with it. Like, I'm 100% with it. Like, definitely, let's start a conversation on the back end and get possibly get something going.
Awesome. Perfect. Yeah. Again, well, thank you for taking this time, and, everybody, contributing with their time to be here. So, yeah, we can wrap it up, and, I'll be back. I'll be hosting on Friday at 2 p.m. So if Shelly or if Sinful, if you want to, pop through, I'd love to, have you and, share with everybody what you're doing, and just check in for this new year. I think that would it's something that maybe we all, as we're like doing things, we kind of take for granted, but or like don't, it's like back burner stuff. But yeah, you're always, that's an open invitation there. It's not just for music and musicians, and it's for everybody doing whatever they're doing, and maybe we'll find out something that nobody knows about you, through the process. So yeah, let's keep it going, and we'll wrap it up.
Yes, sir. Hey, I thank you for the invitation, and I will be there for sure. Thank you. Um, and whoa, I was gonna probably, yeah, I guess go into my final goodbyes. Thank you, everyone that has popped in to listen. I do understand that some of the listeners on the X app have had issues kind of listening. It seems like X has been a little buggy. So I'm going to make sure that I take this awesome interview, edit it a little bit, and upload the full version on YouTube without any like hiccups and stuff like that, so that everyone could get the full experience. Abel definitely is a gem in the space, and yeah, would like to continue growing. On that note, Abel, thank you for your valuable time. It's been an awesome conversation. We kept you here for 2 hours. My apologies. Uh, but this has been kind of an experience for me. Yeah, to everyone at the True Band Room, make sure to click on the links on the back of on the back wall. Make sure to support Abel. And on that
Thank you,
note,
everyone. Thank you.
I guess I say my goodbyes. I will say my goodbyes, and I will tell everyone to act natural. And yeah, continue building in the metaverse. Keep doing what you're doing, and don't don't let anyone ever take your candy. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
That was awesome. All right, everyone. I'm going to leave some music on here. And I'm going to hit the little boy's room. And then I will be back and we'll participate in some shenanigans. Seed, I see you in the Twitch chat, or I mean the X chat. Thank you very much. I see you in the X chat, Seed. Love you. And yeah, give me 1 second, everyone.